Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of adventure. I know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time and energy, it truly means the world to me. I hope you know that in this moment, you are valued, you are loved, you are appreciated just as you are. This is the second to last episode of Gifts for My Child. If you haven't yet, jump back to the first two episodes of this series, the one where Adora and I sat down the day before Jaima was born and we had a conversation. And then the next one where I share the context of the friends that are on this, why I invited them to be a part of it, how I selected them, all these kind of things will give you a lot of different context for this. I want to thank everybody who's listened to each episode and sent me your thoughts, sent me advice that you'd like to add on to what people have answered. It truly means the world to me. As I say each time, for context, these interviews were done between November and December of 2019. Some were done in January 2020. So we didn't know a lot of what 2020 was going to bring. So if you're wondering why we didn't mention those, or why I didn't mention COVID at all, or where's our masks, all those kind of things, it's because this was done in 2019. I did them ahead of time so that I wouldn't be recording episodes when Jaima was here, so I could take, a good 4 months or so of paternity leave, which is coming to an end. Oh my gosh, it's going so quick. Okay, let me get out of the way and we'll jump into this week's episode. Here we go. Hey, Sadiya.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. It really means a lot.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be invited.
So the way we're starting out is, could you share your name and what your name means to you?
My name is Sadiya Sassine, and the meaning of Sadiya that my dad told me is that it means lucky or fortunate. And my last name, although my parents are from Haiti, my last name is actually, both of my names are Arabic, and my last name has some origin in Lebanon many, many ancestors ago. So I really love my name. And there's lots of alliteration, lots of S's. So
that's awesome. Well, let's start right there. One thing you and Baby have in common is, at least one side of Baby's family, my mom, comes from the African diaspora, although, Nigeria, I guess, is one of the origins, but, that immigrant experience of the African diaspora. So do you mind talking a little bit about anything you want to share about that, how you kept your Haiti pride strong, all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yes. So I am a Haitian American, meaning for me, that means my parents were born in Haiti and then they moved to the United States when they were teenagers. And I grew up in Haiti, in America. And I've always kept close to my Haitian culture by embracing all of the traditions of my family and growing up Catholic, going to church, even though I didn't want to. I'm sorry, baby, if you have to go to church when you don't want to, but it's good. Listen to your parents. And eating delicious Haitian food that includes lots of rice and beans and okra and other vegetables, coyote squash or chayote, however you pronounce it, things that people don't eat in America that often, plantains, lots of food. Definitely food is a great way. And just staying in touch with family in general and making family a priority. And a little bit of the language as well, even though I don't really speak it with anyone, but that's always a nice thing to be in touch with.
That's awesome. What about, hang on, Grandma's calling.
Okay.
Hey, Mom, can I call you right back?
Yep.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
We're leaving that in. What about, though, talk to me about, just being explicit. The white supremacy of our country puts out negative things about Haiti. You know what I mean? Where you and I know that's not true. And I
Mm-hmm.
know my child's going to experience that with Nigeria, even though we know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about how you keep a positive image in your mind and in your heart, you know, with that going on? And I don't know if it's ever happened to you, if people made fun of your food growing up or anything like that, that my baby might experience, that they could kind of listen to your story for, a roadmap.
Oh, okay. Well, um, yes, definitely people do say negative things about Haiti. And the number one statistic that you'll hear about Haiti as soon as somebody starts talking about it is it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, which I'm sure is true. But I do wish that people knew more about it. The stereotypes that I've encountered, like in middle school with my best friend, Shaan, and we are now best friends, she was asking me weird questions like, do you practice voodoo? And did I come here on a boat? Like weird things like that, which none of those things apply to my family. But for me, it's something that I think I am a representation of a Haitian American. My families are representations of Haitians being in America, and so I take it as an opportunity for people to get to know Haitian culture just by being who I am, and for my parents just by being who they are, and inviting them to all the fun stuff that I mentioned earlier, like try some of this Haitian food, learn about this Haitian music and this dancing. And did you know that Haiti used to be one of the wealthiest countries in the Western Hemisphere, actually? And it was known for producing lots of sugar. And to this day, they still have the best rum. So there are lots of things to be proud of. And I just take it as an opportunity to like share with people. And, ignorance doesn't usually offend me, depending on the intention. So that's how I navigate.
Thank you, Sadiya.
Sure.
Talk to me about personal development and all the YouTube videos you listen to that are all about self-improvement. I love that. I hope to, instill that in my child. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh man, I have a slight YouTube addiction. And I love listening to podcasts. And hey, baby, your dad has a podcast.
If you didn't mention it, I was going to cut this whole thing off.
Yes, and I love listening to Tom's podcast too, which not as much lately because I've been more listening to financial related topics, but it's kind of like I feel like Tom is there with me, keeping me company when I'm getting ready or doing whatever, and then making me laugh at his really corny and out of left field jokes. So that is wonderful. And I just use YouTube as my go-to research for anything. Just over the weekend, Matt and I changed Matt's brake lights on his car by watching YouTube videos so we can like save some money. And I will say I watched a YouTube video today, of course, that was all about like how to learn a new skill. And one of the points that Wheezy Waiter talked about, his name is Wheezy Waiter, that's his channel name, was research, but not too much. And I'm like, oh, I definitely research, like that's like 95% of my learning a skill. And I do tend to like stay in my head, excuse me, rather than actually learn new skills. So I could get a little bit better about that. But I love to listen to people, podcasts, YouTube, and learn about, or like books, old school, and learn about their personal journeys and what they've learned, like how they've grown up in life and become inspired, because people at all different levels and different ages, skill levels, geographic locations, they can do so much. Also TED Talks. I love TED Talks.
Let's talk about courage, because you're a very courageous person.
Thank you.
You set a goal, you set an ambition, and you make it happen. And you've been all over the world. You know, you lived in Ethiopia for 2 years, and you came out here, now you're over there. You know, talk to me a little bit about courage.
You know what? I'm going back to this YouTube I was watching earlier because someone commented. So the guy was talking about like, why would you learn a new skill? And the first thing he listed was for fun. And I'm like, yeah, duh, obviously, like that's the best one. And I was reading the comments, and one of the people commented like, oh, for fun, isn't that the weakest reason to learn? Because then when it stops being fun, you won't want to keep going or something like that. And I actually replied to this comment, which I don't usually, but I was like, oh no, actually I disagree. I think when something is fun, that's when you're the most motivated to learn. And that's when you're going to work hard to learn that new skill and keep practicing and keep trying. And so for me, all of these goals that I have, for example, going to the Peace Corps, it's because it sounded really fun, but also fulfilling. So I went to the Peace Corps. That's a dream that I had since I was like 16 years old. And basically you have to get a college degree, and then you can apply, and it takes a year for them to like make sure nothing is wrong with you, all your medical stuff is in order, and you actually have your degree and you are like a good person, and they let you go abroad for 2 years. And so to me that was like a huge adventure, and I really wanted to get the experience of learning another worldview and actually living there, not just being a tourist, but like living in another country that where people think completely differently from me or live a lifestyle completely differently. And so, yeah, that is definitely one of the most courageous things I did, because it's pretty hard to like be away from your family for 2 years, not know a language, go be dropped off in a random location in the middle of the world. But that's where all the great adventures happen, is when you push yourself, go out of your comfort zone, do try and have fun, and also, just trying and be loving towards people. So yeah, Peace Corps was a huge one.
On that last point, the loving towards people, you're a really good friend.
Aw, thanks, Tom.
So you're welcome. What can you, what are my out of left field jokes? I'm also curious about that. Which episode were you listening to?
Oh, I don't remember, but all of them. There's always at least one point in the episode that's like really random. And sometimes the your guest might not catch the joke, but I catch it. I know what's going on.
Because you're a good friend.
Yes.
So what can you tell baby about friendship, about being a good friend? What would you like them to keep in mind?
Well, you are also a good friend, a great friend, actually. Friendship it's just all about like caring about the other person, caring about their feelings, trying to be supportive, trying to be encouraging for them. Also opening up and letting them care about you and being honest and being vulnerable. Friendship, growing up especially, involves a lot of like spending time with someone, having fun with them, again, back to fun, playing games, even now, even as an adult, like, playing board games, playing video games, like, yeah, I think just trying to like spend time with them, talking to them, sharing about whatever is going on in your day, whether it's problems, whether it's celebrations, and just not forgetting them, like remembering they're there and supporting them. I think that's what friendship is about.
And then this next one is a prompt. So when I finish, because I've been finding prompts confuse people. So when I finish the prompt, then you just answer.
Okay. Is it like a complete the sentence kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But complete the sentence with multiple sentences or a sentence. Like, it doesn't have to be a word.
Oh, okay.
Baby, you can turn to me when you'd like to talk about, if you need.
Baby, you can turn to me when you need to have a safe space, or you feel like you want to calm down or let the stresses go of the day, or just have a place that you can be yourself and be completely comfortable. Or just if you want someone to talk to, you can turn to me.
I appreciate that so much.
Absolutely.
And what is your invitation to baby? What would you like to invite them to do, consider, think about, evolve into? What's your invitation?
Baby, you have some super cool parents. Like, for real, you're going to grow up and you're going to see that I'm right. And I invite you to give them a really hard time, be completely yourself, and completely 100% express who you are, and also drive them nuts, because that's what kids are supposed to do. And I invite you to always rely on your parents for anything that you need, and not be afraid to talk to them and learn from them, and to to enjoy your life. And I can't wait to meet you, baby.
I can't wait for y'all to meet each other too. Well, thank you so much, Sadiya. You're the best.
Yay! Thanks, Tom. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure.
You're the best.
We're the best.
Yes.
High five! Okay, looking forward to all of us hanging out soon.
Me too.
Peace.
All right, here we go. So, Shaan, my friend, I just want to thank you so much for being a part of this. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, Tom. It's good to chat with you today.
So, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to baby by sharing your name, and what does your name mean to you, or what's the story of your name that you'd like to share?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, hi, baby. How are you? It's nice to talk to you from before you enter this world physically. We're excited to have you here. My name is Shaan. It's spelled actually Shaan. And I live in Los Angeles right now. Mostly anytime I tell anyone my name, they almost never spell it correctly, because it's not a very common spelling for the name Shaan. At least here in this part of the world, it's not. But the way that it's spelled, Shaan, Shaan, is the Persian spelling, and it actually means pride, or to be proud of who you are. And I got a chance to actually choose my own name. So when I was little, my parents gave me a different name based on who they thought I was. And then when I grew up and I discovered for myself who I was and who I was growing into being, I ended up changing my name. And that's the name that I chose for myself.
That's wonderful. I don't think I've gotten to hear that story either. So I feel very blessed to be a part of getting to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely thought about it a lot when I was changing my name. So this might be a good time to share a little bit more with baby. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, why don't you go into it? Let's do it. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So when I was a little kid, everybody thought that I was a little girl, born as a girl. And I knew inside for the longest time, I knew that did not feel right to me. Inside, I felt like I was a boy. And I didn't know how to explain it to people. So I didn't realize until much later in life, when I was an adult, that actually I was transgender. to me, it's like the embodiment of both energies and the embodiment of both spirits in one. And I knew I was just different from many folks, and that was okay. And that felt actually a blessing to me to be able to experience my life in both of these ways.
Oh, that's powerful. I appreciate you sharing that, Shaan.
Yeah.
I'm sure that living your truth took a lot of courage. And so, in whatever way that shows up in baby's life, where to live their truth takes courage, what would you like to share with them about it? Maybe, what's the reward of going forward, or any advice or anything you'd like to share?
Well, that's such a deep question with so many layers. I mean, courage is something that I believe every single person has within them. But I do think it takes something special to be able to get to it, to be able to access it. It's almost like it's a jar really high up on your shelf, and you can't reach it because you're not tall enough. You've got to find ways to get there, like maybe use a ladder or something, but it's there. It's there, and you can see it. And so I think of courage as something that is always there, and we have to find a way to get to it, to be able to do the things that we want to do. And not everybody is ready to do that. Not everybody is able to do that. But I think everybody is capable of doing that. And I think anytime I've been scared, I spend time alone. I spend time alone and I get quiet and I really think about what is coming forward, like what's in my heart, like what's going on. I'll have a conversation with myself, and I'll try and understand what's happening, where are my feelings, what am I feeling about something, and somehow the answer comes. And then it's a question of whether or not what decision I make based on that. And many times it does take courage to do the thing that feels more difficult, but deep down, it's the right thing to do. That's where courage is most necessary, if that makes sense.
I love that especially when it's the right thing to do, to tap into that courage. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I also know you're, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I also know that you're somebody who has chosen to pursue your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about, choosing to do that and being bold enough to go for what you want?
Sometimes I think it was easier for me to transition gender than it is to continue to push forward on pursuing my career goals. And it sounds so bananas to say that out loud, but sometimes it does feel that way. So I left my family is all pretty much in North Carolina, and I moved out to California because in California, Los Angeles is where it's the movie capital of the world, where films are made. So it's a town full of creative people and specifically actors. So when I first moved here, I learned how to make movies. I learned how to direct and produce and write. And then it wasn't until maybe 10 years or 15 years into it, somewhere around there, maybe 10 years into it, that I got into acting. So acting is an interesting field because I love actually acting and performing in front of people or for the camera. Like I really enjoy the feeling of becoming a character and getting a chance to express myself creatively in that way. But many actual actors only get to do that about 10% of the time. 90% of the actual job requires something that that pushes me in my comfort zone. So there's a lot of networking. There's a lot of meeting other people. There's a lot of selling oneself and marketing. And that's okay to do. It's just a very tricky thing to do when you yourself are the person that you have to constantly, I guess, when you have a healthy relationship with it, it becomes more of a natural thing, but at first it can be a little uncomfortable to do. But it's really taught me, I think, like going forward on this path and taking my time, it's taught me to have a healthier relationship with myself, because the more I move forward as an actor in my career, the more visible I become. And the more visible we become, sometimes we feel other people's expectations of who we're supposed to be, or how we're supposed to think, or how we're supposed to dress, or where we're supposed to go. We started thinking about what other people want from us. And I've gotten the chance to go a little bit slower and really pause and think about that, so that no matter if I'm super visible or less visible, I can always stay true to who I am. And sometimes I feel like I want to rush and I want things to happen quickly. And I have all these goals and dreams and things I want to do, but I'm really just appreciating this in-between space, like the time that it takes to get somewhere, and the constant getting back to yourself. Does that make sense? Like the constant checking in with yourself to see, am I, no matter what stage I'm at in my career, am I still being true to who I am as a person? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and I love that. That's amazing. Is there anything that I haven't asked that's on your heart that you want to share with baby?
Yeah, let's see here. Baby, I would love for you to know, which you probably already know, how amazing your mom and dad are. Your parents have built a phenomenal community of people around them, brave, strong, funny, creative people. And I want you to always know that no matter who you are, no matter how you are, you will always be loved and accepted for who you are, even when you have no idea who you are. Even that's okay. Just know that you're coming into this world with a lot of love and support, and that will always be with you. That will always be with you no matter what.
I love that, especially the part about us being good parents. So true.
There you go. You play that when baby is really mad at you. Just say, hey, remember this?
What? Remember what all those people I paid to say said?
Wait a minute, there's pay for this?
only if that line somehow ends up in the interview. So That's great. Well, can I ask you a question? You can choose to keep it or not. But as we talk about, I don't know how your relationship was with your parents, but like, there were moments I got mad at my parents. I would get so mad sometimes, if they don't get me, they don't understand me. And, so do you have a personal story that you would want to share for that very moment when baby's feeling like they're the only ones in the world that, they're so frustrated that they know it happens to all of us and we get through it? Anything come to mind? Any particular story? There were definitely lots of times like that. I think that my thoughts are, when that happens, 3 important things are helpful: to have someone who is an adult to talk to that isn't your parents. So I think that's important, because your friends, more or less, their job is to always have your back. But a mentor or a parent, our job is not to be your friend. Our job is to be a caring adult, which means we're tasked with sometimes telling you things you don't want to hear. So I think it's helpful to have an adult you can talk to about those kind of things and can empathize with you. And then we hope that we can always have open communication so that you can tell me how mad you are at me and we can work through it. So I think those are the things that I have found when me and my parents really got at it, that when we actually finally sat down and talked about it, that it helped. So that's my ambition for us, that we actually, no matter how mad we get at each other, we both know that the door is always open to finish the conversation and heal whatever wounds that were caused or disagreements were made.
I love it.
That's my
I love
ambition.
it. That's great. That's great. Awesome.
So on that note, Shaan, this one's the prompt. So baby, you can turn to me if you need to talk about, or if you need to come to someone with, what can baby come to you or talk to you with? What can they come to you for?
Baby, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at a lot of things. So I'd say anytime you're feeling conflicted or down or unsure, you can come to me. You can come to me. We can talk about it. We can get there. Let's see. I'm a pretty decent cook. If you want to get me, you can come on over. What else will I teach you? Depending on how old you are, you want to catch? You want to play catch? We can play catch. We can do a lot of fun things together. So, yeah.
I will add on that, baby, that Shaan is the game champion. So Shaan knows how to play a lot of fun games.
That's true. That's true. And I probably won't go easy on you. I admit that I get very competitive. So I won't let you win. I feel like your mom and dad might let you win sometimes. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about that.
So then my last question is, what is your invitation? What would you like to invite baby to think about, to consider, to do? What's your invitation?
Okay. My invitation to you, baby, is to think about how you can help others. And I think it's the one thing that most humans are constantly trying to find is happiness and joy. And one of the secrets to finding happiness and joy is being able to help and give to others. So I invite you to constantly think about how you can give to others, and make sure you're taking care of yourself. Of course, that has to happen first. And I'm sure you're going to be an amazing human being, and that there's going to be a lot to give.
I love that. Thank you so much, Shaan, for joining us. I can't wait for you two to meet each other.
I am so excited, Tom. Congratulations to you and Adora again, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. Due date is end of February, right?
Yep, just around the corner.
That's awesome, man. I would soak in as much sleep as you can from now until then.
That's what I hear.
Nice. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Shaan. I really appreciate it.
You got it, buddy.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and let me know if you need anything.
All right. Sounds good, Tom. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, Seth, what's going on?
I'm chilling East Coast time.
That is true. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself to baby by just sharing your name. And there's this icebreaker I made up that no one else has ever done. And it's to share, what does your name mean to you?
Hey, baby, I'm Set, and it's the shortened version of Francette. And my name is my name is me. Francette still feels like me. I don't hate my name, but Set is me when I stepped into myself and when I got tired of other people butchering my name. But it's when I stepped more fully into myself when I was younger.
Do you mind talking about that?
I'm on a journey with my name. You might come to a point where you go through the same thing with your name when you have to step out on your own and like find who you are within whoever you feel like Tom and Adora assigned you to be. And Set is who I had to become and who I felt like I was assigned to be, but also in the mismatch, like the mishmash of things that other people projected onto me in the ways that like they couldn't see me because of the ways they couldn't even pronounce my name when I was younger. And so I just tried to come up with something that was still me, but that people couldn't butcher, but they still found a way to butcher it. And so it's shorter than Jesus, Janet, Madonna. And yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I know who Jesus and Madonna are, but who's Janet?
Jackson, duh.
Okay, there we go.
Baby, I will help you if Tom has not taught you these things already.
So I was going to start there, and I'm glad we already went there. That Set, you're on my Keep Tom Real Humble squad. So what are some Keep Tom Humble things that you want to gift the baby with that they could, in moments where they want to, keep that humble too? Anything you want to share?
Socks. When you're old enough to have hand-eye coordination, I'll just start sending you socks by just the pack. When dad wants to have his feet up everywhere on the couch, on the table, and your friends are coming over and his feet are just everywhere, just throw socks at him. Questions for when he says things and you're like, have you thought about what you said before you said that? Or have you thought about that since the last time you said it? Questions to make him think about the things that he's saying and to re-examine the things that he's saying. Socks and questions.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I got.
Oh, have you thought about that since the last time you said that? I can't wait for that one my children to start saying that one.
Actually, go. That was off the top.
So I have lots of questions, but I'm also curious, unprompted, is there anything that you want to share that's just on your heart?
At whatever age that you're hearing this, I just hope that regardless of like all the things people come to expect of you because of who your parents are, that you find a way to differentiate yourself from them. Because Tom has a huge personality, and I think that people will come to expect certain things because of that personality and because of like the things that people normally associate with people with that kind of personality or values. And I just hope that you find a way to really hone in on who you are apart from what other people think that you should do or be or look like, including Tom.
I like
as loving as I think that place will come from, like I think all expectations will ultimately be a prison. And like even if your conclusion still ends up being the same as Tom's, that how you get to that conclusion may be different. And I think I just want you to really honor the process of how you come to that conclusion and honor the voice that you find in the process of coming to that conclusion, even if it ends up being the same as your parents. And there's no shame in coming to the same conclusion as your parents, too. So even if you're like, oh, I actually agree with everything they say, also no shame in that.
Because then at least it's yours.
Yeah.
Mm. What for you is creativity and expression? How does that show up in your life? What would you like to share about those things with the baby?
There's no one concrete answer for me. One of the few concretes I can say is that expression is the opposite of depression. And if you're ever feeling super sad, I'm super familiar with the latter, so talk to me about it. And there's no way to like just stay down indefinitely if you find ways to express yourself. And everybody is creative, everybody is an artist in some way. You just have to honor whatever it is that your art is. And as long as you are finding a way to be generative, to create things or to generate things from a place of who you are, and honoring where you come from, that is creative. That could look like cooking. That could look like woodworking. It doesn't have to look like making music. It doesn't have to look like making a podcast. Like whatever it is, as long as it's coming from a place of who you are and you're honoring where you come from, that's your art and that's your creative process. And just honor that, and you can't go wrong. As long as you're going forward, and as long as you are going in the direction of your vision, you can't take any wrong steps.
I love that. So I'd love for you to share a little bit of your Trinidadian pride, if you don't mind.
I mean, nationalism is dumb, but Trinidad's a great place. Like, it's an actual, I think both a melting pot and a salad bowl in the way that America thinks it is, because it is a place, it's not a place without racial problems, but it's a place where nationality is actually more important than race, because at the end of the day, the litmus test of a problem is, but does it mess up the party? And it's like, if a problem does not mess up the party, then it's not worth like, it's not worth it. I mean, people will still chop each other. I'm not going to lie to you. But like, that happens anywhere. Like, people have jealousy issues and violence issues. Like, I'm sure you'll learn about colonialism at home, and Trinidad is no stranger to that as a British Commonwealth. But at the heart of the culture is food and music, and that's important in a lot of places, but that is really what's at the heart of Trinidadian culture, and what the glue that keeps it together, for better or for worse.
One thing that I love about you is you're a really good friend. Is there any insights or advice or recipes for friendship that you'd like to share with baby?
Thank you for that. Show up, baby. Just show up and show up. Not in the ways that you think people want you to show up. Just show up and just be there. Like, even if you have to ask a question, you think that you might look dumb for asking people what they need, just ask them. Like, ask them, are you looking for someone to fix this, or do you just need somebody to listen? And ask them, like, do you need a hug, or do you just want me to sit here? And more often than not, like, even if people don't have an answer, the fact that you bothered to ask them will mean the world to them, and just give people an opportunity to be seen, and they'll figure it out. And the fact that you were by their side to help them figure it out is what will matter.
Another thing that I really admire about you, and a lot of other people I've heard say is, like you own your awesome. Do you agree?
I own my awkward is what I own.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it a little? How do you own whatever you are?
Sometimes I think I just decide to go forward with it. Like, I think I've heard some people have told me like, you're fearless, and I'm like, no. I am actually scared shitless much of the time. I've just made an agreement. Sorry, baby. Sorry about my language. I have just made an agreement with myself that we're just going to figure it out. And I'm actually quite scared much of the time. And I was not really bred to be fearless. Much of my upbringing bred me to be the opposite. And so that's a process that I'm constantly working through. So I'm actually quite scared a lot of the time. I've just made an agreement with myself that we're going to figure it out. And I've often made what I consider sometimes to be a wrong decision at the time, but I've just made an agreement that we're going to figure it out one way or the other, and that on the other side of it, that I'll still have myself. And sometimes, like, I just decide that whatever it is that I want or that I'm going for is more important than the fact that, like, I don't know what I'm doing, or that I feel really weird doing it, and that I just don't know one way or the other. And I feel strange anyway. So I'm going to feel weird whether I know what I'm doing or whether I don't. And so if I'm going to be awkward either way, I might as well just figure it out.
I love that. So I see behind you, you have a photo that says Gay Street. What's Gay Street?
It's in New York. I was actually in New York for Pride probably like 10 or 11 years ago. And I bought it while I was in New York. And I have some other stuff back there that I had made that I sold at Pride last year. So it's all with other queer stuff. And that was my first and only New York Pride that I went to. So I bought it. And I was just into being super gay back then. So I was like, I'm in New York. I'm going to get it. And whatever aspect of your personality, baby, that you're super proud about, I highly encourage you to get stuff to commemorate that part of yourself as well when you have the opportunity to.
I love that. So, what can baby turn to you for with any questions? Like this, like a prompt, like, baby, you can turn to me if you'd like to talk about when you need. What can they turn to you for?
Whenever you're feeling creatively stuck, if you're having mood issues, if you need gassing up, like one of my things, my best friend Sarah calls me the ultimate hype woman and friend paramedic. Like, I can always find a way to gas you up about something. Like, silver linings are my thing. And I don't like when people are spinning out or shame spiraling. So if you're shame spiraling or you made a mistake and you just feel like I'm the worst, call me. We can figure it out. Text me, or whatever the future version of texting is. I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to teleport by then. Whatever. Whatever that is. I've not come across a situation yet where I can't find a silver lining. For better or for worse, that's my strength, and I enjoy doing it. And even when I'm upset with people, I can find a silver lining and find something good about you in that moment to help you at least stop beating yourself up.
I love that. And then the last question is, what's your invitation to baby? The invitation to consider, to think about, to try. What's your invitation?
If you ever want to learn to ride a motorcycle or you want to go on a road trip.
Cut me off there. New invitation.
If you want to tag team a massive, like 9-foot paint canvas, I got you.
That was the only rule my dad made me agree to. He's like, you can come, you can do anything you want. Don't ever ride a motorcycle. And I think I'm going to continue that tradition.
Can baby ride in the sidecar of my motorcycle?
We'll see. We'll cross that bridge. We'll see.
On like Route 66, because it's an old state highway, so they go way slower, and it only goes from Cali to Illinois.
I feel like this and Can We Get a Dog? This is going to be like my lifelong battle. It's like, no, you can't ride a motorcycle. We cannot get a dog.
Okay. Well, I tried, baby.
But the canvas, yeah, I'm all about that life.
You heard it here.
Anything else set on your heart that you want to speak to before we say goodbye?
No, but I hope you have a long and prosperous life, and for real, I will send you all the socks you need.
Well, Seth, I love you so much. There's not many people I've stayed in touch with for many years, and you're one of those people. So I look forward to you and baby getting to hang out and causing a ruckus. And
I love you too, Merle. Sorry about my language, baby.
What's terrible is I didn't even catch it until you said sorry. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So I think this is just going to be a thing.
All right, tell Adora I said hi.
I will. Love you, Seth.
Love you too.
All right, my brother. Thank you for being a part of this.
Of course. I'm here for you.
So we're going to have you start off by introducing yourself to my child, by sharing your name, of course. And I want you to share with them what your name means to you, or your relationship with your name, or anything about your name that you want to share.
Well, baby, my name is Travis Ray. I am your dad's best friend. I've known your dad ever since we were just little people, about 4 or 5 years old. And we went through a lot together, and I've grown as a person because of your dad. And he's been there for me for all through the hard times and the good times. And my name, to me, Travis, doesn't have too much of a meaning to me. I do know how my name was picked. It was picked out of a hat. My name was supposed to be Spencer, but my name is Travis, which I definitely think I fit Travis. I definitely fit that name. So, but yeah, that's what I got.
No, we got to talk about that. Picked out of a hat?
Yes, my name was picked out of a hat. It was either Tyler or Nicole that picked my name out of a hat. So my name there was no really big purpose to my name. Killian, my son, his name is Anna's mom's maiden name. So that's where that name came from. So, but my name doesn't really have any meaning. It's just a happenstance, and here I am.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't have very many people I've stayed in touch with as long as I've stayed in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be one of those people that they can ask for those stories about dad from.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of those.
So let's jump in. Is there a story about dad that you want to either embarrass me about, or anything you want to share? I think they might enjoy a little story about dad.
Well, dad is a crazy guy. Very wild child. Definitely was a hyper child. Living on Elm Island in Waterford, Wisconsin. We definitely did a lot of playing out in the woods. One of the biggest things that I took away from your dad was probably never being too old to play with action figures. We always played with action figures, and we always played with our N64, and we were never too old to play with those. And that's one thing I learned from Grandpa Earl, was that he told me that don't ever let somebody tell you you're too old to play with toys. So that was one of the biggest things I think that I really got out of being a child was a lot of the great aspects that Earl family brought to my life. So
That's awesome. I love that, brother. So how many years did you serve in the military for?
10 and a half years.
So maybe you could talk to baby a little bit about what it means to serve a mission that's greater than yourself.
Serving a mission that's greater than myself is something that I didn't take lightly. When I joined on a spree, but once I actually got in there and realized what I was serving for and who I was serving, it gave me purpose in life. And I ended up re-enlisting 3 times to stay in the military to serve my country and my people. And I didn't last the full 20, but I sure made it to 10 and a half years. So, but I definitely doing something that's bigger than myself was an accomplishment in itself, and it was something that I'll never forget. It was definitely a big impact in my life.
Now, I know this is a different branch of the military. I think it's the Marines that say "embrace the suck." Is that the Marines?
No, that's the Army.
Okay, that's the Army. That's you. Okay, so
Yes.
talk to baby a little bit about the philosophy of embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. So there's actually a meme out there about brace the suck, and it talks about how you are in a condition that you have no choice of being out there in the condition, so you have to make the best of the condition, regardless of how bad it is and how unsatisfying it is. So that's what embrace the suck is. You embrace reality, and you just kind of move forward. That's kind of how embrace the suck is.
But why do that? Like, what benefits have you found, or did you find a benefit in it? Was it helpful? Is it something that you recommend? You know, I'm trying to do a little propaganda job here.
I definitely. Well, it's a good. You're doing a good job. I definitely think that it's something that everybody should hear about. I did take it seriously, even though sometimes I took it jokingly, like embrace the suck, like it's terrible. I used to joke around with my buddies in my units when it was like, when I was in Korea and it was negative 25 degrees out and we had to go on a ruck march and walk with all that stuff on us. And we would just make fun of the whole situation and try to keep it upbeat. And embracing the suck got us through the hardest times and the hardest situations that I've ever experienced in my life. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know if that philosophy wasn't part of my life, I don't know how I would have accomplished some of the things I accomplished.
I love that. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get serious. I am an alcoholic, and I also, had, I think, also an addiction to drugs too. So that means that my child is also going to have an inclination towards that as well. If we talk about it's a genetic inclination. Mm-hmm. I know that you also are in one as well.
Yes.
And so I want to be upfront with baby from a young age. I mean, that this is something when you start to get into high school and you want to experiment and all these things that you need to watch out for. So can you talk a little bit about your journey, what you discovered, anything you want to share on that so that we can normalize these conversations for baby from a young age?
Sure. I am an alcoholic. I've been sober for almost 3 years now. And it's not as long as your dad. Your dad's been sober way longer than I have, which is commendable. It's awesome. But I started doing drugs before your dad started doing drugs. Your dad actually got mad at me when he found out I was doing drugs. And he got mad at me when he found out I was smoking weed and stuff like that, because your dad was straight edge for a while. And he definitely got on my case about it, but I just didn't listen. And my family kind of pushed me away from your dad for a little bit, and it kind of really got to me. So I fell back on certain things, certain substances, and my life just started going into a spiral. And I moved out of my parents' house too quickly. I ended up losing my job. I was addicted to cocaine, methamphetamines, alcohol. I did heroin. I smoked weed. I did many things that I regret doing, but I wouldn't be where I am today if I wouldn't have done them. but I wish that I'd be able to approach the day that I have today without doing them, because they didn't do any good for me. They caused a lot of problems. They caused a lot of problems when I was in the military. I was very, very fit. I was one of the top fit people in my unit. I was the bomb pretty much back in the day, but it affected my work life, my addictions, because I was addicted to alcohol so bad that that I ended up having to have my wife leave me. And that wasn't something I took lightly at all. I know that I had a part in it. I'm not going to point fingers. I went and made my amends with her a couple weeks ago, actually. And it's drugs and alcohol are things that can be bypassed. They're not going to be there to help you. They're not even, I don't even call them a crutch. They're not even worth being called a crutch. They're worthless. They don't do any good for you. And they didn't do any good for me except cause harm. And it caused me to hurt other people. And, there were a lot of times where I'd call your dad drunk, not knowing half the things I was saying, or, just being belligerent. That could be hurtful to some people as well. So just the little things, drinking might be legal, but it doesn't mean that it's right. So, and alcohol and drugs are illegal, which they're not right. But just because something is right, like alcohol, for instance, just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. So, one of the best things that I think I got out of your dad actually was knowing that I didn't have to be sober alone because he went through sobriety. So I knew that if he could do it, I could possibly do it. So it was kind of a stepping stone for me, being able to follow your dad and start doing the right things and starting to fix my life. So
I appreciate you having that vulnerability and courage to share that with us, brother.
Of course.
You talked about forgiveness with Anna, but it also sounds like forgiveness with yourself. Could you talk to baby a little bit about forgiveness?
Forgiveness is something that, in order for you to forgive others, you need to forgive yourself first. If you can't forgive yourself for the things that you did in the past, how are you then in turn going to be able to forgive others for hurting you, or to be able to be forgiven by somebody else? Forgiveness is a serious word. It's something that is impactful, and it can really affect somebody when it comes to that. And I think that it's something that needs to be looked at in a serious note, and that forgiveness is a life-changing emotion and a life-changing act that somebody can do for somebody, and especially for yourself. If you do that for yourself, then all it's going to do is carry you through your life in a positive way, because forgiving is something that I think is embedded in everybody. And I think that it's something that is human. It's what it's meant to be. Human is to be able to connect with people in a good way or a bad way or a forgiving way. So that's the way I look at it.
I appreciate that, brother.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that has always been a big part of your life is your love for music.
Yes.
And, I know you've been in bands, you play the bass. Even now, I don't know if you still do, but when you were, in the South, you were playing bass at your church.
Yep.
So can you talk a little bit about the power of music, the love for music, and if you want to plug any musical tastes that you think when baby's old enough they should check out, feel free.
Well, music is something that affects everybody. I don't care who you are. Every culture has music, some type of music, some type of instrument. And I love music. It got me out of my head. Sometimes it kept me in my head. But I was able to listen to certain music when I was a kid. So I loved my Britney Spears. She was my thing. And then I attempted to listen to Korn with your dad, but he only let me listen to Twist because it didn't have any swear words on it. And he had all these CDs of Slipknot and all these bands I wanted to listen to so bad. And I started rebelling, and getting into the music and realizing all the genres that are out there, all the types of lyrics, whether good or bad, they all tell stories. Some of them don't tell stories. Some of them are just nonsense, like rap. It's just total nonsense, but it's okay because I like it, because I like the beat and I like the bass, because I play, I slap with the bass. But it's something that I enjoy. It's music. Music has brought hope to me when in times when I was going through hard times, through like my divorce, through the military, through my adolescent years. Music spoke to me, and your dad actually got me into wanting to play music and to pursue that. And yes, I did play bass for my church. I played for over a year. And it was amazing. I actually got to learn a lot about notes and about, besides tablatures, which your dad taught me about online when you could download them for free. You can't do that anymore. I already tried. But I learned how to do notes now and, go through the tunes, and music is awesome. I personally like metal. I still am a metalhead. I still like bands like Lamb of God, Korn, Slipknot, Mudvayne, even though Mudvayne's not a band anymore. Those kind of music. And I actually listen to Christian music as well. So it's kind of a black and white. Like there's no gray area of music. It's either whoa or whoa, so there's there's a big difference there, but I like to keep an open mind with music. I always learned that from your dad. He always had an open mind with music as well. So but yeah,
I love that playlist.
Yeah, Mudvayne's not a band anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you know, our child's going to be multiracial, Black, a person of color. There's going to be a lot of different words people are going to use to label our child.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to be having race is going to be a big part of our lives the whole time our child's alive. It's going to be a big part of their life because of the society we live in. And I know for them, it's going to be important for them to know that their white relatives have their back when it comes to race as well. So when they're looking to you to know, is racism something that you're going to be standing up against with them? What would you like to share with them about that?
Better hope that I don't find anybody that says anything negative about your race. That's all I'm going to say right now. I'll take care of that situation really quick. I'll come down to Cali and it's going to get real. I don't let race determine a person, and nobody should do that. And I disagree with society and the way that it looks, the culture and the way that it looks at African Americans and Caucasians and Asians. We're all people and we're all in this together. And I got your back, Jack. I got your back all the way to the end, no matter what.
That said, you and I in our later years have disagreements when it comes to politics. Mm-hmm. And yet we're still friends and we're able to get on the phone with each other and have a real conversation without yelling at each other. I'm never talking to you again. Why do you think that's important, or why do you think we're able to do that? Because I'm sure baby's going to grow up and have relationships with people they're going to disagree with. Mm-hmm. And yet we're still able to be friends. What do you want to share about that? Why do you think we're able to do that?
I think we're able to do that because we've I don't want to say been together because that just sounds different. We've been friends for so long that we went through all of our changes together, and us being able to have our own beliefs and our own ideas of what we think politics should be, religion, all that, we have respect for each other, which I think is something that your child is going to grow up with. He or she's definitely going to be instilled with respect, especially with Adora and you. You guys are definitely going to put that in their lives. And there's nothing better than respecting another person, because you're just going to get it back. At least I hope you should. But I think that we get through it because we know that everybody has different points of views. And I'd like to call myself an open-minded person, because I listen to whatever people have to say. Like when you told me you converted to Islam, I was the first person you told. I remember that you couldn't wait to tell me, and I supported you. I'm always going to support you. regardless of your political views, your religious views, because that's who you are and that's who I love. So,
I appreciate that, brother.
of course.
What can baby turn to you for? Baby, so it could be a prompt. Baby, you can always turn to me for, or when you need, or if you need to talk about. What can
I don't know, because it's kind of hard. I'm saying that in front of Dad. Usually it's kind of like, just give me a call, I'll talk to you a little bit.
I'll plug my ears.
Well, baby can come to me for anything that he is also comfortable talking to his dad about and not comfortable talking to his dad about. I like for my children, which I can't wait for you to meet. I am always asking what's going on, what's wrong. And I think that I will always be concerned for your child. I will always have that concern. I'll always have that genuine love for your child. I'll treat your child just as I would treat my own. And I would make sure that he or she, the baby, could come to me for anything. Because I'm here to listen, and I'm a good listener, and I give my feedback, and I would never do anything that would alter the upbringing of baby's parents. So.
And then my last question is, what would you like to invite baby to do, to think about, to consider, to question, to evolve? What's your invitation?
Give me a minute. I want it to be something not just at the top of my head. So what would be something that I would want the baby to ponder about, is what you're asking? Like to view?
However you interpret it. Just your invitation.
I guess what I learned from Dad is question everything, because that's how you get answers, and follow what you feel is right. That's what your dad did. He converted to Islam. He felt it was right. He's a motivational speaker, which he thinks is right. You know, he does many positive things because he knows in his self that it's the right thing to do for himself and for society at large. So I think the biggest thing is do what you feel is right, that is safe, and that is not harmful to yourself or others. So that's what I got.
Well, Travis, I want to thank you so much. I also look forward to baby getting old enough for us to introduce all our favorite hilarious movies to them.
Yes, definitely.
No, it's good times ahead, brother. I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, I'm not going to be the person they can go to if they want to explore the world of hunting or fishing or all of that kind of stuff too. So I know there's a lot of things they're going to look to you for. So looking forward to all of it, brother.
Me too.
All right. Love you.
Love you too, man.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. It means the world to me. I want to thank my guests from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this episode, for offering their gifts to my daughter, to Jayanma, for being open and vulnerable and honest and so gracious with their time and their wisdom. I said it to you on the call when I was interviewing, but I want to say now, thank you from my heart so much. I hope you will stay tuned for next week's episode, where you are going to hear from 4 of my friends that I interviewed, and we sit down and I ask them different questions, some the same that you've heard this week. You're going to hear new perspectives, and then some new fresh perspectives that I asked people. Any feedback you have, anything you'd like to add on, any advice you'd like to share with Jayanma or me as a parent, tom@tomearl.com. That'd be so much appreciated. If you want to support the show, I invite you to become a member of the Celebration Academy. You can learn more by going to tomearl.com/courses. You can become a member for as little as $10 a month. You can support the show and get access to a ton of courses and professional development, leadership development, business development resources at your fingertips. All right, my friends, I look forward to you joining us next week. Thank you. Peace and blessings. one more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.